Hello, everybody. I wanted to show this here. This is like I don't know, it didn't even look. It's like a 03 and 05 Chevrolet Cavalier. It's got 2.2 Ecotec. It's actually a fairly nice car. You notice that little dent in the bumper. That could have been caused by anything. Instead, what it was caused by was the driver was going a little fast, and he didn't pay attention. I reckon he was eating or something. He ended up running off the road and jumped her twice, and jumped her twice. This could be exaggerated or it could not be, but he hit a ditch tile, and if you look, the bumper's pushed back. Which this isn't really an issue. The radiator support's bent a little. See where that's buckled? It messed with the bottom of the frame rail. If you notice, it started to crumple it at the crumple zone. And back here, I believe. But what it really did, you might not be able to tell this unless you know what one's supposed to look like, but the subframe's bent. It's pushed back. It caught it on the wheel. And moved the wheel back. Bent the subframe. And it could have twinged the control arm a little bit. But I don't really see anything wrong with that control arm. I mean, I'm sure it's got to be tweaked. But you can tell that is supposed to be straight. I don't know if I can get it to where you can see that. That's lower. Yeah, there we go. The part on the left is supposed to be straight with the motor mount. It moved the whole thing out. But it don't really seem to have affected anything else. So I'm replacing the subframe lower control arm on this Cavalier. I'm not showing this step by step. Here's the wheel. It bent it at the weight. But I will show it once I've got it apart. Once I've got the parts car apart. And when I get it back together. This is just a random wreck update. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Alright. So I got it out. I left the power steering rack hanging in the car. And left the struts hanging in the car. This car ran off the road, like I mentioned before, and hit a ditch tile. And that made this bend. But if this hadn't have been rusted through, that wouldn't have bent. It bent the weakest link, and that happened to be the subframe, because it was broken. This car came from Indiana. So I guess that some of you might be used to working on this kind of rusty stuff, but I'm not. East Tennessee don't normally rust like this, so not this young anyway. So I'm going to go to the junkyard tomorrow and try to find one that's already out. I got the Cavalier back together. Pretty sure it could use a wheel. as of right now, it needs at least one wheel and 2 tires. But it also needs a transmission pan. It gashed it pretty good, and it's trying to be wet around the pan. It just so happens that a few years ago I had a 04 2-door that the transmission went bad in, and I kept the pan. So I'm going to put the transmission pan on it and change the gasket and filter. So tomorrow I'll be doing that and come up with a wheel and this inner panel, the front part of it, because that is broken all to hell. So, back in a few with more. I put a good used transmission pan on it and a new filter and gasket. That wheel's still bent, but I have 2 of them in the trunk for him, and I found a usable front wheel well. Car's all the way back together, or as far as I'm putting it back together. So I checked the alignment the best I could with a homemade checker for that by myself. It's not the most accurate thing in the world, but the steering wheel's perfectly straight and it's not pulling either direction. The right front's still bent, so it's got a little bit of a shimmy, about 50. But considering as bad as that wheel's bent, it's actually running out pretty good. I'm pretty sure I said this at the beginning of the video, but this car had ran off the road running about 50 and went through a couple ditch tiles, and it caught one pretty hard on the right front and bent the K-member, if you, whatever you want to call that, the control arms bolt to it. It bent the hell out of it. So I went to a junkyard and found one. Replaced the K-member and both control arms. The transmission pan, because a fence post or something bent it pretty bad. And changed the fluid. Well, changed the filter. We don't normally change transmission fluid because, especially when something's went a long time without being changed. This car's got 200,000 miles on it. The fluid was still red. I changed the filter and the gasket and put it back in. Got like a quart of new fluid in it. So it's done. It seems to drive good. So thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. Until next time, please like, comment, and subscribe for more.